Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Evolve Beyond Limits Academy. And we are in our final activation. How do you feel? Here's the thing. Best part about this is that you can go back and you can watch these activations as many times as you need to, as many times as it takes for it to fully land within you. And also understand that some things aren't going to land yet, but the seed has been planted. And when the time is right, it will all come together and you'll be like, oh, I remember that. Or maybe you'll hear it in a slightly different way and it's going to resonate. And maybe in a month from now, you're going to be a very different person and you're going to come back and you're going to listen to this and it's going to hit completely different than it hit the first time around. So many options. And the best part about this is that, yes, you can continue to go back and watch these activations. And this is just the beginning. This is the beginning. Once you begin this journey, it never stops. And I hope that it doesn't stop for you because we are meant to continuously evolve and grow into our highest selves the entire time that we are on this planet. And so the best thing that you can do for your personal growth and your personal development is to be intentional about that. It is to fully allow yourself the time and the energy to always be working on becoming the best version of yourself. Just don't stop. Don't stop. Because one of the things, and it's actually one of the reasons that activation codes was created, was because so many of the people and the women that I had worked with will admit that when they got out of a program or they stopped working one-on-one or whatever that was, they would start to slip back into their old ways. They weren't putting the intention behind their growth. And therefore, the old patterns started to sneak back in. So it's so important that you continue along this journey and that you can do that in so many different ways. Here, even just with me, you can join rewilding, which is all about coming back to your natural state as a woman, about rising into that feminine aspect of who you are. It takes you through a deep dive into the lower three chakras so that you can understand in depth your fears. You can understand what it feels to be stable. You can start to unpack your self-worth, your creativity, your passion, and really reclaim your personal power. It's really powerful, really, really powerful. And then from there, you can go on to living limitless, where we talk about the 4 upper chakras. And this is about reclaiming your truth, the truth of who you are, understanding in that divine blueprint. And I'm pulling all of those things together. There's one-on-one, there's human design work. There's so many different ways. There's so many tools that we have to work together, and just pick one. Allow yourself to continue on, even if it's just an activation codes, and not just because activation codes was created to be powerful and potent. Allow yourself to keep expanding, to keep growing. Because I say it all the time to people that I work with, that nothing happens overnight, but everything can come together overnight. And the only time that that's not going to happen is if you give up, if you quit, if you stop putting the time and the energy towards what you desire and the life that you want to live. So with that said, let's step in to activation 7. So in the last activation, we talked about the feminine energy versus the masculine energy and the weaving of the two. And so we're going to go a little bit further and dive even deeper into intuition. Because our intuition is something that as human beings, we all have. And we were all born with this ability to see what cannot be seen and to feel things and to hear things, to know things that are beyond the seen realm that we live in. We're all born with this capability, but most of us have shut it down. Because when we're younger, we're taught that the only things that are true, the only things that are accurate is what you can see physically with your two eyes. But our knowing as human beings goes so much deeper than that. So much deeper than that. But when we're told the opposite for our entire life, we shut it down. And our intuition is really, it's never gone, but it does stop tapping on the door. When you stop listening, it stops talking. So I want to talk about how can you start to bring back and come back to your intuition? Because it is so powerful. It is such a powerful tool in coming back to who you are. It is your highest self guiding you along. And most of us have just stopped listening. So there's two things. We have our intellect. We need this. We need our intellect. It's there to keep us safe. It's our goals. It's the feeling of security. It's this 10-step plan. But more than likely, if you're only living from this place, then you're going to be working to develop a bunch of things that you were told you should, that you should want, that you should accomplish, where you should be. And it's always going to feel like something's missing. There's going to be a lack of joy, a lack of freedom in your life if you live in a place of intellect all the time. And I've been here in this place where all you want is more. You want the next thing. You want to gather things. And then you get to a point where you're like, I just want to feel free. The freedom has nothing to do with things, having things or not having things. It has to do with how you feel within. The freedom comes from inner peace. And when it comes to feeling fulfilled in our life and feeling and living a life of joy and freedom, we have to know and learn and remember how to tap into our intuition. Your intuition is more spontaneous. It is what is going to allow you to skip from step 2 to step 8 by guiding you to the right place at the right time or being offered the right opportunity. Your intuition, your highest self, where that is guiding you is always going to make your life easier if you don't fight it. But most of us fight the nudges. We fight the what ifs, the wouldn't it be funs, the could you imagine, wouldn't it be cool? These are all little voices of your intuition. And we're taught to override them with intellect and logic. But it's on the other side of your intuition. It's through that guidance, through allowing that to pull you forward, that magic unfolds. Your intuition is simply your inner guidance. It's that part of you that just knows. It is what allows you to have more faith in the wisdom that is within you and trust to take the action needed to follow through on that faith. Your intuition is always guiding you. And all you have to do is learn how to listen and spot that guidance and how it shows up in your life. Intuition, it doesn't always follow logic. I'd actually probably dare to claim it very rarely follows logic. But it's the knowing without the words. It doesn't take time and space into consideration. It allows you to skip steps. It doesn't operate in the past or in your future. And this is something that I can't remember if it's been brought up in these 7 activations or not. But when I work with people on human design, that our mind does not make our decisions, our intuition does, because our intuition is always going to make decisions based on what is best for you right this moment. Your mind is always going to be thinking about the future or trying to protect you from your past. Your intuition speaks in insights, in revelations, and urges. It doesn't come from up here, it comes from within you. And this happens, and we can allow ourselves to tap into this, especially when we're coming back to it, we're remembering it in the being or the feminine energy that we talked about in the last activation. When we become still, when we allow ourselves to pause, when we allow ourselves to just be where our feet are, in the joy and the playfulness, it allows us to connect dots that we had been searching for. Where do your best ideas come from? Where do you have your biggest revelations? It's very rarely when you're searching for them. I say clarity is tricky because the more you try to force your way to clarity, the further away it comes. So how can you spend more time being? And that's going to open you up to more and more of your intuition. And this can be hard because we live in a logical world. And when it doesn't feel like the most logical thing, we tend to fight it. And I always talk about the fact that the reason that I am where I am today, I have a nursing background. And at some point, I felt, before I even understood what intuition was, in my gut, I knew that I needed to take a step away from nursing and into my nutrition coaching and my fitness for special needs community that I had built. I couldn't explain it. It didn't feel logical. I didn't know how I was going to make any money. No clue. My husband, who is very logical, said, "How are you going to do that? Show me a plan." So I showed him a plan. I made it all up because I was so convicted in the fact that I needed to do this. And what that felt like for me at that point in my life was this pit in my stomach that would not go away. It wouldn't go away no matter what I tried. I tried to ignore it. I tried to shy away from it, and it just sat there. It sat there until I finally said yes to my highest self. And then it disappeared. And it might feel different for you. But when you learn to start to follow your intuition, your highest self, doors will start to open for you. And you keep trusting. And you don't try to fight against it, you lean into it. Yes, God is good, and so are you. And what you are creating in this lifetime, you are co-creating that. You have free will. You will be blessed with opportunities, and it is up to you as to whether you're going to take them or not. And your intuition will guide you in those situations if you can learn how to listen to it. So how do you begin to remember? So much of what we've done so far is already leading you that way. You honor your past and you allow yourself to move through it. Allow yourself to journal on what you need to release, forgive, transform. How can you surrender more? Don't hold on to your plans too rigidly because it denies your creative flow. When you can learn how to lean into your intuition, things usually work out better than you could have ever imagined. But you have to let them. And if you're trying to control every step of the process, there's no allowing. And all you will be able to do is reach the limited goal that you have set. Because you can't imagine that there's something beyond that. Let life show you otherwise. What's so interesting about intuition is that it actually takes more energy for you to hold yourself back than to move you forward. It takes more energy for you to talk yourself out of the thing than it would to just do the thing. We, as humans, have been programmed to think worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. I challenge you to think best case scenario. What could it open up for you? When you learn to tap into your intuition, life does become easier. I don't mean that life becomes without struggle or obstacles, because oftentimes your intuition is guiding you one of two ways. It is either guiding you to an outcome that is so far beyond what you could even imagine, the most beautiful place, or it is guiding you into a struggle or a challenge that is exactly what you need to go through in order to get to that beautiful place. So when I say that life becomes easier, it doesn't mean that there's no challenges. It doesn't mean that there is no obstacles, because the thing is that you have to be ready. And oftentimes there's lessons that we need to learn before we can have the thing that we really want. Because we think about all the amazing things that are going to come with that. But what are some of the struggles? Who do I need to become to hold whatever it is I'm after? Whatever life I deserve to live, whatever business I want to grow, whatever parent I want to be, whatever partner I want to be. Who do I need to become? And oftentimes in that process of figuring out and becoming that person, there's struggle and there's challenge, and it's all gifts. It's all opportunities for you to fully execute and become that and hold that, as long as you don't run in the other direction. If you learn to follow your intuition, doors are going to open. And if they don't, it's because you're supposed to find a different door. So often in our life, we are trying to resist and we're trying to fight against our intuition. And there's a door and it is closed and it has all these locks on it and we're pounding on it and we're banging on it and we are trying to push it down with a crowbar. I don't know if you can't push it down with a crowbar, but and you're trying to smash through this closed door. And if you were just to look a little different direction from a different perspective, you may see that there is a door that is wide open with flashing lights saying, "Come on in. Come this way." And you fight it and you resist it because it's not your plan. That's not the way it was supposed to go. Can you surrender? When things begin to feel very forced in your life, it's because it's not your inner intuition or it's not aligned in your purpose. When you are following your highest self and the guidance from your highest self, things flow. I'm sitting here today and we just sold our home in Michigan. And from start to finish, this happened in 4 weeks. And literally, there was not a single hiccup. And it was the most amazing experience. And it was beyond what we could have asked for because we listened to our intuition. And everything happened in the most beautiful way. And it just flowed. And things like that happen in your life. And if you look back, you're going to notice when those things happened for you and how they happened. And you can know, wow, that was amazing. The most important thing here is that you have to learn to trust it. Trust it. The more you trust, the more you listen, the more you trust it, the more it grows, the stronger it gets, the more you remember, the more it comes back. So there's something called the 4 clairs. These are the 4 ways in which your intuition comes through. Okay. And everyone has this. Everyone has this. And how you receive the messages from your highest self is going to be a little bit different for every single person. And it's going to depend on your personal journey. More than likely, you have all 4 of these. And in the beginning, there's going to be 1 or 2 that are going to be a little bit more prominent for you. Pay attention. Pay attention. Start to pay attention because you can really, really develop these pretty quickly when you start to listen and you start to trust. So, the first one is, and this is the one that started for me. Clear cognizance. Sorry. Clear cognizance. This is about knowing. So, you ever find yourself saying, "I just know"? I just know. I don't know how I know. This is like literally my husband's least favorite words that come out of my mouth. I just know. I can't explain it. I just know. It's a strong gut feeling. You immediately look at someone and you know, I don't want to be around that person, or I do. You don't know why you have to go a certain direction, but you do. I just know. The thing about people who have clear cognizance is that they're very decisive. They have an idea and there's very little that you're going to do to change their mind. They cannot be swayed easily because it's this intuitive download. And you just know that it's going to work out, but you don't know how and you don't really care. You just know. And especially when you combine this with human design, this is about these gut feelings. It's almost like a physical feeling that you have. So that's clear cognizance. You just know. And there's clear sentience. Clear sentience is about feeling. For all of you empaths or highly sensitive people out there, this is probably you. You can really feel what other people are going through or feeling. And you easily take on other people's feelings and emotions. And the thing that you got to watch out for here is that this can lead to social exhaustion or even social isolation if you're not careful. So you learn to start to develop and have an understanding of when it's yours and when it's versus when it's somebody else's. When it's yours, it's almost going to feel like it's like in you, like it's within you. When it's somebody else's, it's going to feel like it's sitting on top of you. It's going to feel like a weighted blanket. So understanding that is really important because you cannot take on everyone's stuff. You have enough of your own. And so you can send people compassion, and then you need to be able to release it. You may have been told things when you were growing up, like you're too sensitive. You take things too personal. And this is a gift because when you understand how somebody is feeling, you can help people so much if you're using it intentionally. And allow yourself to utilize for people who are clear, have clear sentience, it's like a feeling. Like if it's a yes and you're supposed to do something and your higher self is calling you to do it, you're almost going to feel like this expansion within your body. Like you're opening up. Okay. It's exciting, kind of scary and exciting, all the things. If you're not supposed to, it's going to feel constricting. Doesn't feel good. You're really resistant, but it's not an ego resistance. It's like a energetic resistance. It just nothing about it feels good. Listen to it. Okay. Then there's clairaudience, which is all about hearing. People who are really super drawn to music and song lyrics. And it's so funny because this is 100% me. Like I don't even listen to the beat of a music. It's like all the lyrics. But when you're looking for a sign, you may hear it in a song lyric in the exact perfect situation. People who have clairaudience tend to be really great coaches and teachers and authors because it's a communicative like thing. They can also be really sensitive to sound. So door slams, they're jumpy, their music is too loud. Like they tend to be really sensitive to that. And the way in which you can understand this is that like there's a small voice guiding you. So whenever you are listening for your like you're hearing messages, it's not going to be like Jesus comes through and is talking to you through his voice. It's going to be your own voice. That's what you're going to hear. But it's not just your mind saying this. You're not making it up. So this is one that usually develops after some time of practicing with this because you might be like, am I making this up? I don't know. But it's like a calm and steady version of your voice. And in the beginning, they're probably going to be really short messages that are straight to the point. They come fast and they leave fast. So it might just be a yes, no. Right? Like, so start to listen for that. What's your initial reaction or initial response is what I should say, not reaction. What is the initial response that comes through? And in order to help develop this, you can do that through journaling, through writing. You can do it through automatic writing where you put like a question at the top of a sheet of paper and just allow yourself to write whatever flows through and see what happens. No judgment, like just allowing yourself to read it through. And then there's clairvoyance, which is all about sight, but not sight through these two eyes. It's sight through your third eye. People with clairvoyance tend to be drawn to art and design and color. They might see colors around people or flashes of light. They're really tuned in to angel numbers or symbols. They might have like a lot of, if it's really, really easy for you to visualize in your meditations or the guided meditations that you've done, then this can a lot of times be the one that's really strong for you. And it almost comes through like a memory would. Like it's this faint vision in the front of your brain. And it's funny because this is actually one that developed in me pretty quickly. And everybody think it's so cool. But the funny thing is it can almost be annoying because a lot of times you have to interpret what's coming up. It's signs and symbols and animals and different things. And you have to understand what the symbolism behind them is. Or you can actually ask them if you're in a meditation or whatever that looks like. But yeah, it can be kind of fun. And usually this is one of the last ones to develop because it's easy for our ego to come in and be like, you're just making this up. So you have to develop a lot of trust in your intuition and a lot of trust in yourself first. So those are the 4 clairs. Which one stood out to you? Which one sounds the most like you? Which one intrigues you the most? Which one gives you the most resistance? This is a really, really powerful gift, a really powerful tool for you on this journey. And that's why I wanted it to be our final activation together in Evolve Beyond Limits Academy, because the best thing that you can do is practice, 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 trusting your higher self. And it can grow so fast over time if you start to pay attention to it and you start to trust it. And if you have fully allowed yourself to integrate and activate through each one of these transmissions, then you will already feel a shift that has happened within you. You already feel more connected to you. And that is my goal. Because the more connected we are to ourselves, the more connected we are to our highest self, the closer you are to living out the divine destiny that you were put on this planet to live out. And so I invite you, just like I did in the beginning, to continue through activation codes. Join us in the next round of rewilding and living limitless. Come to an experience, anything that you can do. Let's work together on your human design and learning how to just continuously peel back the layers and remember who you are. Remember your divine blueprint and why you are here and what you are here to do, because you are so needed and so necessary. And I want you to see yourself the way that other people see you, as the magnificent creature that you are. And in order for you to fully embody that person, you're going to have to keep going. And allow yourself to continue to activate day after day after day. And there will be a moment, and maybe a lot more, where you look back and you say, whoa. And you look in the mirror and you say, look at who I've become. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide on this journey. I am so beyond honored and grateful to be able to do that. And whether we continue to work together in activation codes or in any other capacity, I adore you. I love you. I am proud of you for showing up for yourself, for being here, for having the courage to take a look within yourself, to remember who you are. I will see you in activation codes and hopefully in so many other ways on this journey.